All right, is mine up? He's still. Um,
Somehow he's a presenter, so you can make him.
how about that?
Great. Yes.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes. So we do have more than 400 major students now, and we've been growing, so which is a good sign, and we are still planning to get bigger. In terms of graduate students, we do have 6 graduate students at the moment, and it could be 8, but 2 students, one from Bangladesh and one from China, they're deferred their admission to either next spring or next year because of the COVID-19. So we would be at around like 8 students. And for registration, credits, and growth, I kind of want to show you that uh, because of the pandemic situation, we have obviously uh, some enrollment got like decreased. But even in this situation, computer game design program, in terms of course credit hours, we have 1.3% increase. And for the major students, we got 1% growth. So even though college is decreasing its enrollment, we still increased our credit hours. I'm not saying we are better than CBPA or anything, but I want to illustrate that we're still growing in this pandemic situation, which can tell us our field, computer game design field, is still going strong even in this pandemic situation. And can we go to next slide? And some faculty highlights. In this week, our STUNS Teaching and Learning Center hosts the 12th Annual Innovations in Teaching and Learning Conference. And there are 4 presentations prepared by game faculty and Professor Gregory Grimsby and Robert Dietrich and myself. We presented our research on teaching and learning utilizing um, this online platform. So we have worked very hard with Dr. Ying Kuo from Stun Center. Dr. Ying Kuo is instructional designer and learning analyst, and we've been working with her to convert our courses to online courses. And in that process, we found many useful tips for other people who are working on conversion of their online courses. So we basically put them together in a presentation format to present to Mason community. So actually, you can go to Stun's Teaching and Learning Center website, and you can find those presentation and you can watch them. Good thing about this year's annual conference is we actually prepared those in on demand video presentation format, so you can go to the website and watch the our faculty member presenting their researches on teaching and learning. And next slide, please. Yes, that's me. And currently, there's this global game jam, Jamming the Curve, hosted by LabX, which is part of National Academy of Science and CDC. And what they're doing is they are trying to respond to this pandemic situation using the game. So people worldwide, like there are people from Europe or some other countries and United States, people gather and create games that can help people to respond to this pandemic situation better. And we've been working with many virologists and other healthcare professionals to help those people to create a game. So I am serving as one of the mentor to help them create a game and develop a game. And next slide, please.
Quick question:
Yes.
Is the game educational or is it strategic, as in wargaming?
More both actually, but more educational game to inform people about like these healthcare issues. But there has been some strategy game. But obviously, because those participants are students, most likely students, so it has some limited function. But there has been some strategic game as well. And next slide, please. And we hire our new faculty member, Professor Matthew Strangio. He's a veteran 3D animator from Pixar, and prior to joining Pixar, he worked in game industry and he worked on the Sims series at EA. So it was kind of funny. We hired him and realized he probably worked at EA at the same time with our uh, associate director Eric Pisciani and other people. So it was kind of interesting how their paths got crossed. But we hired Matt from Pixar. So prior to joining Georgie Mason, he was working at Pixar for about 12 years, and he worked on the Monsters Incorporated series and the Inside Out and on other famous, well-known, popular animation. So he will be a great addition to our program, and he will teach 3D modeling and special effects, and hopefully 3D animation as well, so that we can actually teach students who wants to go into 3D animations as well. And that's all I have prepared. And thank you for the time. And if you have any question, you can ask me any questions at the end of this meeting. Thank you.
Well, I just want to make a brief announcement that since the first quarter meeting, we didn't have a second. In the late fall, Sang Nam was awarded promotion and tenure at George Mason University. So we'd like to publicly congratulate him again for attaining that goal. It's one of the largest and highest.
Thank you. And then we do have Professor Seth Hudson, now actually who completed his doctoral study. So Dr. Seth Hudson also was promoted to associate professor and got his tenure. So now our program is a lot in better shape because we do have more tenured faculty, and then we can definitely advance the field of computer game design. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
So if there's no further questions about enrollments, we do have an update that actually is connected to a new PhD program we're putting together connected to computer game design, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So now we're going to move to the Virginia Serious Game Institute update, and that is James, Casey, Stephanie Kane, and Jacob. Are you ready?
Sure.
Go for it.
So the first thing we want to talk about is, you may remember Scott put out a book called Artificial Intelligence, Mixed Reality and the Right Definition of Classroom, pictured there. If you haven't bought it or read it already, obviously you can go to Amazon. I'm sure he won't mind if you, bought a copy. It's being followed up, though. He's got another book in the works. Also, it's being co-authored by myself and Stephanie Kane. It's titled Serious Games and Personalized Learning, New Models and for Design and Performance, and it's being published by Routledge. It goes over a lot of cool topics about learning and artificial intelligence and machine learning, and gives you history and how we learn, the science behind it, as well as how we can kind of capitalize on what entertainment games do well, what educational games have done poorly in the past, how they can do better in the future, and how we can really leverage some of this new technology that we're seeing today to really make truly intelligent learning games going forward. And so you can see some of the topics and chapters listed out there. As soon as we know release dates, I'm sure we'll have another party and we'll get everything set up, but we want to kind of give you a heads up. It's almost done. Most of the chapters have been written, gone through a bunch of different drafts, and so we're coming along very nicely on it and looking forward to that. All right, next. So you may have remembered, from in the past, we've had speakers before, but they've been sporadic and they've been, this time or that time. And so in this new age of social distancing, we're looking at how do we put more content out for everybody that might be interested? And that's not just game design students, that's just not VSGI folks, but this could be anybody interested in game or tech or innovation. And so we're looking at internal and external speakers to really liven up and do essentially an over lunch quick talk, talk about their tech or their achievement or what they're doing, and allow people to do Q&A, but allow it to be done over lunchtime, so it doesn't really take out of people's days. And at the end of the day, they should come out and hopefully have talking points or things that they would want to learn, and may make some good connections for everybody involved. So you can go to our site to see more, but the upcoming talks that we have for the fall, we're going to talk about the book I just mentioned. So both myself and Stephanie are actually going to talk about what we researched and put into our chapters and how it was writing a book and researching and creating something like this, especially for the first time going into it, and all the things that, you have to think about. We're going to have a talk about how AI can make us all look smarter, basically education, games, the new technologies, and especially in connection to COVID-19 and what we're doing right now. I mean, even if you look at our advisory board, right, everybody's changed the way we do things these days for good and bad. The next talk is actually about the state of games during COVID-19.
Actually,
Yeah.
James, do you want to mention that that's actually dual marketed with the Arlington campus? I don't remember the title, but yeah.
Yeah. They're doing a speaker series through Arlington as well, so we're co-marketing it with them to get an even greater audience. So, state of games during COVID-19 is the next one, and then we actually have Derek Brinkman doing a challenges of running your own game studio. So for people who want to start their own indie game studio or even AAA game studio, some of his challenges will be a very interesting talk. So as we go forward, we'll continue to add more over the next semester and into the summer, and continue these as we go forward. And what's really cool is if any of you guys have ideas for chats, talks or panels or any of this type of stuff, things that you are seeing, new trends or new topics that are coming up, and you think it would make a good talk, bring it up to us and suggest it, because we're always looking for interesting panelists. We want to get this and push it as wide as possible and get more and more people into it. So check it out on our website and let us know if you have anybody that'd be either interested in going. They can just get the information right on the website, or if you have new talks, let us know too. So
yeah, I just wanted to add that to James, what he just provided is that they're all at lunchtime, and they're relatively short, except for the second one, how AI can make us look smarter. That is an evening presentation on the Arlington campus for Arlington Forward, I think is the name of it.
Yeah, that sounds right. And it's a little longer too.
Yeah, it's not 20 minutes, half hour, 50 minutes. It's, I think, an hour and a half. And that's James and I giving that talk.
Yep. Excellent. So this is a slip into the agenda, but with the social distancing going on right now, getting information out to people isn't the same as it was anymore, right? So social media needs to take more emphasis. To that point, we've been trying to amp up our Facebook and Twitter presence and push more news, information, even just relevant news that we see in the industry, and kind of relinking it. So we have a Facebook and a Twitter presence. Obviously, you can't click on them here, but we'll send them out and make sure it's in the newsletter. And if you have any questions, but follow them, like them, all the stuff you do on social media, And again, if there's things that you guys want to promote that fit within our scope, then we can obviously push that out as well. So that's what it's there for. And I think Riza's putting some of the links directly into chat right now. It looked like that popped up. So just wanted to call that out. All right. And then we have to do a resident company update to see where everybody is. Now, obviously, when we met last and COVID was kind of rearing its ugly head, we had to shut down the VSGI for a while. And so everybody was working from home and doing things remotely. And then August came around and things were doing better, and the campus was getting ready to reopen, and we decided to reopen the VSGI as well. So it's still kind of a limited capacity. We don't leave the doors unlocked all day. It's locked pretty much. You have to use your key card to get rung in. But at least one of our companies, Citadel Studios, is back in the space, actually actively using it. They love being away from home and not in their office. They get much more work done there. Some of the other companies have decided to remain home due to the size of their team and the fact that they've already made remote working work for them. So as we go forward, we'll need to adjust what we've been doing, look at their offices, and then as we get new companies come in, shift people. So if people are going to continue to work remote, we'll still have relationships with them, but as we get new companies, we'll have more space. So as far as how the companies have been doing, I know Namiar is continuing to work on a few projects, including USAID. They just released their first entertainment game. So if you have an Android device, it's Hamsters versus Gremlins, if I got the name right. And you can download that on Google Play and give it a little play, and watch a few ads in their game. So they get like the tiny % of a penny for each view that you get from ads. Citadel Studios had their official launch on Steam recently. And they've been supporting the game with multiple updates. They continue to do updates for the game, because with a game like Legends of Aria, fresh content keeps people coming back. And then they also have subscription models that they want people to feel like they're getting value out of. But they're not sitting on their laurels. They're actually working on several different prototypes of future game projects on what will be their next big thing. So they've been working on those, and they're still kind of under wraps and a little hush hush, but they're playing around with things so that they can actually begin production and look for additional funding. The Historical Movement Archive, their team has been polishing up a lot of the stuff from their motion capture and their archives. They've also been working on a entertainment game that takes everything that they've been doing from the motion captured fighting techniques of China and creating kind of a fighting game out of it. And so right now their focus is, how do we take all of this information, all of the work we've done, even some of the game assets, and put it together so that we can seek out additional funding, so we can work with more people, get more experts in the field, record more stuff for their archives, and hopefully push their message out to more folks. Fly Guy Interactive, who is working on the social emotional game for communities and schools, landed a second contract with them. So they've actually begun and is actually probably about halfway through work on revisions and expansion of their original game, so that more kids will get in front of it, more kids will get tested with it, and more kids will be able to hopefully have their social emotional needs gauged and met by these counselors that communities and schools use, versus the old methods that they were kind of doing. And so far, I know from helping out and listening in, they're really loving what's going on there. And finally, Sky Farm still has been pushing really to get some deals on bringing their properties into various mediums. So they're continuing to seek funding. And I have not heard when their firm release date is for their first game, Duncan's Flying Tugboat, is coming out. But as soon as I know, I'll let people know so that people can support it, try it out, show it off to their kids, etc. And that's about it for the resident companies. I think Stephanie's up next to talk about the PhD program.
Hello, good morning. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, before I move that slide, there is a sixth company called EOY, which
Yes.
really was just getting launched when COVID hit. But it's a nonprofit that is developing an app for an application, if you will, to help match kids, foster kids, with families, and working nationally and internationally with the organizations that manage a lot of those. So it's a pretty exciting project and a little bit different. Anything else? Any other questions for James about all that material, the books, the speaker series, and then the updates on our resident startups?
And there you go. It's right on the slide. I don't know how I missed it. I typed it in while we were doing it. Isn't that the great thing about collaborative stuff? All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
It happens. So we're really, really excited to announce the culmination of our partnership with Tencent Games, which has finally begun the development of a PhD in serious games. It's a degree program that's going to be residing within the VSGI, and it's the first of its kind. It's basically the first in the country to begin this kind of terminal degree. And it's designed to prepare future researchers with multiple domain base, such as a core knowledge in game design and development, contemporary research practices, and we also are offering collaborative research experiences with faculty from various different disciplines. And we are actually, we've invited faculty from various colleges to help us develop the coursework for this. So we have, I don't have their names listed, but I have the colleges that they're from. So we have Dr. Nada Dabag, who's a professor in the College of Education and Human Development and the Division Director of Learning Technologies. We have Dr. Phil Lee, who's an assistant professor in psychology from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Matt Peterson, who's an associate professor in Human Factors and Applied Cognition, which is under psychology, also in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. We have Dr. Rebecca Sutter, who's an associate professor from the School of Nursing in the College of Health and Human Services, as well as a co-director of Mason and Partners Clinics. We have Dr. Craig Yu, who's an assistant professor in computer science from the Volgenau School of Engineering. And also from our own computer game design program, we have Sang Nam, James Casey, Scott Martin, Eric Piccioni, and Jacob Engfeld to help with all of the coursework. We also have hired a graduate professional assistant from the College of Education and Human Development to assist us in this, Kanan Bethea, who actually has a sports and education background. As of right now, and this can change, overall the degree is 72 credits. It's 25 core credit hours, 6 elective core credits, and then 36 credits in a specialization. And we will have 3 unique specializations to choose from, which would be artificial intelligence, game-based learning, and health and medicine, all with a serious game focus. We're hoping to submit the proposal to Chev by the end of this semester for approval by fall 2021. So we're really excited to get this underway. That's it. Any questions?
It's based on preliminary research and Chev proposal and talking to folks from other universities as well. It's pretty unique, a PhD program in serious games in the United States. There are a few interesting models and consortiums in Europe in this space, but not in the US. So the dean of CVPA and several deans in a lot of these colleges are very, very excited about launching this as the first of its kind. And of course, obviously with the Serious Game Institute hosting it, that makes complete sense. So it's hopefully a differentiators for Mason here moving forward. The funding, we're paying stipends to all these faculty to participate. And of course, obviously with our graduate research assistant, all is coming from Tencent, our Tencent award that we received two and a half years ago. And they see this, as Stephanie said, as a culmination of our 3-year partnership. And there have been preliminary talks with Tencent to underwrite an endowment for this PhD program as well. And we may expand that to other potential donors within the region and in the state as well. So wanted to announce that. It's one of the most exciting. It is truly a science-based PhD program more than a development, but anyway, if anyone's interested, we have some summaries of the individual specializations that are being fleshed out now. We can send in about a month. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I think this slide is for me. So I'm Jacob Enfield, and I work at the VSGI. And one of the projects I've been working on is a book publishing deal that I got to work on a book called The Mathematics of Game Design. And that's going to be with CRC Press. Is hopefully, I should have it done hopefully by December, and then it'll hopefully be published sometime in 2021. Got my target audience is the undergrads, especially. There's a lot of books like this that are out for kind of, I guess, like the students in the sciences, students in computer science and engineering, and the math is pretty fast and pretty heavy. So I'm not trying to create a book that covers every area of mathematics and game design. It was originally called The Mathematics of Game Design, and we took off and we kind of added a collection of applied lessons. So it's a little lighter than that, and it's also very project-based and giving students activities and real live game projects to work with to kind of make it a little bit more interactive and more seeing seeing the math applied. So that's kind of the project I've been working on, and I have some goals down there, which I just mentioned some of them, but also the crossing of multiple domains. So, mathematics is often taught as in like algebra and then geometry and then trigonometry, but I'm trying to, teach it in a way where you merge, like in the real world. You don't just use one domain at a time. So that's the project I'm working on.
So Jacob has been with us as our associate professor of research at the Virginia Sears Game Institute for only about a year, right? A year and a half. And he comes to us from Northridge, I believe. Is that correct? In California, University of Northridge. And he has a PhD in mathematics. So, but is obviously an interest in games as well. So it's just a perfect marriage there with his interests. And he does teach a little bit, and I think he's proposing a mathematics game design course in the game design undergraduate program here. You're either going to teach it in the fall, I think, or next spring. Or...
I was going to be teaching it this semester, but some things got shuffled around. And,
right.
So maybe next semester, I'm not sure.
So this will be the third book that's going to be coming out of the SGI in the last 2 years, 2.5 years. So we're pretty excited about our output here, our research output and publication output. Certainly greater than anything else in CVPA, and matching some of the other colleges and institutes at George Mason. Yeah. Thank you, Jacob. MGTA update.
Yes, good morning. So like the game design program and everybody else on the planet, we made a successful transition to the virtual space. And this past summer, we started we inaugurated the 2020 MGTA Virtual Academy, where we offered 6 weeks of live streaming online classes. And we were able to host 300 students from all over the United States. Which was a challenge and could be termed a successful pilot for expanding on this format, even when we resume on-site classes. So we offered the usual classes: art and animation, game design, but I guess the thing to highlight here is a new set of classes. We inaugurated the beginning of an AI academy for high school and middle school students, and for that matter for adults, in 2 courses: Intro to Python for Machine Learning AI and Machine Learning AI with Python. We also had 2 brand new game design courses: Game Programming with Unity and C# and Game Design with Unity and C#. And then finally, we have a new Roblox course, Roblox Game Development, that introduces programming and game design to a younger group of kids. Now, what makes these classes so unique and so suitable for a variety of formats is that they are completely, they have all the resources that a teacher or a student would need to take this class on-site, online, synchronously, asynchronously. They have all the lesson plans. all the projects, all the codes, everything that you need to just open them up and take the class or teach the class. They're also uniquely suited to licensing, and this fall we're beginning that by we've licensed the one of the 2 game design courses to Prince William County to some teachers to test drive those in their classes. So very excited about those, very excited about expanding those, and having another successful summer, even as we resume on-site courses, because judging from the student feedback and parent feedback, these courses were very, very successful this summer. If anybody knows any students that are interested in taking our courses this fall, we've just opened up for registration, and we'll be offering the Python course and the Unity course. So let's see what else. So let me know if you have any questions and want to register. The registration seats are limited because, kind of segueing to our next announcement, MGTA has 2 grants that we've received, and one of those grants is with Prince William County. And they're going to be sending us 120 students for our fall courses, and the funding has come through the Advancing Computer Science Education Grant that MGTA and Prince William County received both together to fund fall courses and some summer courses for students that perhaps are underserved, whether they're rural or just simply don't have access to college campus type experience and to the type of courses that we offer. These courses also complement what Prince William County offers in terms of enhancing student education in game design and programming. And then finally, we're also happy to note and grateful that we've received a $15,000 grant from Micron Foundation for the same purpose, to offer scholarships for students who wouldn't otherwise be able to attend our courses. And this is applicable, both of these grants are applicable to both on-site and online courses. And that's about it in a nutshell. And if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
I feel like kind of a backseat presenter. I comment after everyone speaks, but I just want to remind for those that are new to the meeting, or maybe we haven't mentioned it in the past, but the Mason Game and Technology Academy is our outreach kind of division, adult classes, teacher training, and of course K-12 STEM courses through the Commonwealth. But they are they're self-funded. They receive no support, financial support whatsoever from the Commonwealth directly. It's all enrollment based, and they have their own team, small one. I think Josh is here, and pays all the teachers based on revenue. Part of the SGI, which is obviously part of the CVPA. We've explored a nonprofit model, spinning it out with affiliations, but COVID kind of undermined all that. In any case, I just wanted to make that point.
And if Scott, if I can, I want to make a comment on
Sure.
MGTA. Obviously, MGTA have helped our academic program a lot, especially our students get invaluable lessons and experience as working at MGTA. So it has been great pipeline for us to serve our students. And we often find many students actually get that teaching experience and wanting to be a teacher to teach this new technology. So that's great. And another thing is sometimes you gain knowledge better by teaching or passing that knowledge to other people. And every summer, students came back to me and then shared their great experience at MGTA. And this summer, it was kind of a little bit tough because of COVID situation, but they actually successfully made that transition to online. And then I'm actually working with one graduate student who taught at MGTA summer, and then he now actually teach me how to use Discord to teach students better. So it was great, and I am really grateful for working with MGTA. And definitely, if you want to know more about it, I mean, if you have any kids, you should check the program out. And thank you very much.
Thank you for the shout out, Sang.
So does anyone have any questions for Jacob and or Vera about MGTA, or Jacob about his new book and his work and research? If not, we can go to open session and talk about anything. Bill, I think your microphone's getting chopped up a little bit. We heard pieces of it. At least I did.
Can you hear me better now?
No, not really. Yeah, maybe you can chat, type in the question, Bill, if it's not too, it seems like your microphone is just limited or compressed.
I can contact her after the meeting.
I think he said something after the meeting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do a call.
Okay.
Any other questions or open session? Talk about any of our updates. Obviously, we're not sitting on any laurels. We have a lot of projects. A couple things we have a couple grants and contracts in the pipeline. We'll announce those. More information about those, obviously, if we receive them at our next meeting. But some of them are substantial, and some of them are unique. Let's put it that way. And Jacob is, as our research associate professor, and Stephanie. I don't think she mentioned it. She's being very humble, but she's our new director of research. So we actually have a point person now that's focused on that.
So, Scott, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
It's on the PhD program, and it was very useful to hear that, and I'm happy to hear the report on pursuing that. Around the country, are there how many universities are awarding PhDs in this area?
Based on our research in serious games, there are 0. We will be first. We'll be first to market. Now there are, including ODU, U.S. University of Central Florida, there are degrees in simulation and modeling in PhDs, but it's a very, very different approach. Obviously, modeling data, not necessarily focused on our 3 areas of health, medicine, AI, and then game-based learning. And then, of course, simulation is what it is, simulation. So we would be at, as I mentioned, I think in the brief summary I gave, there are about 4 or 5 different universities in Europe, University of London, there's a Dutch university, 2 German universities, and an Italian one that I found that have graduate degrees tangentially related to serious games. Serious games have been much more embraced in Europe so far anyway, in the corporate space, industrial space, and in manufacturing in Europe for decades, much more so than in the U.S. to date.
Thank you. That's a good wrap up. And I'd be interested in seeing how that program goes in the state. Was there? I noticed on the list of units in the university, I think I may have missed it, but was the College of Science on there?
Let me go back and find it.
No, the College of Science wasn't on.
There's a lot of interest in weather-related kinds of activities, and you may want to reach out to the new dean over there. He called me, and we had a nice session. Asked for me to be on his advisory council, and anyway, I think there's a link for you there if you want to reach out to them. If you like, I can do that, but I think he would be receptive to you and certainly can tell him I suggested that.
No, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for that point. Certainly, College of Science is where the data science work is occurring. It's not in Volcano. It's actually in College of Science. So, and data
Exactly.
science is a big piece of, or I should say, pieces of what we do. So, yeah, there's a new dean. I have not met that dean yet, but I look forward to it. So maybe there's a lack of relationship is why they haven't been. We haven't engaged them yet, but there's time. Certainly, we'd be happy to have them on board. Any other questions? Okay. Very good. Well, thank you all for attending and didn't have to drive here and eat old soggy breakfast sandwiches and cold coffee. So I think in that respect it was successful. It was great seeing all of you, even though it's in 2D and not 3. But thank you for attending and thank you for your support. And have a great day. And we'll keep you updated with hopefully everybody's reading our eye contact newsletters. We send them out every couple of weeks, and so it gives you an idea of some of our activities, and you can follow us and track us there. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.